hanging by a thread that grows more precarious with every moment in your presence.
I want my sister to be happy. Can you make her happy?
True love is worth it. No matter what.
Hi, Polly. Hi, Bessie. So nice to meet you.
Hi there.
I'm Jane with NextShark Media. Oh my gosh, where to begin? The Featheringtons. I don't know what it is about the Featheringtons. They do some shady things, but they're still such a lovable family.
Good.
The characters are so lovable. What do you think? And I'll start with you, Polly, and then Bessie. Is it about the Featheringtons that make them not this one-dimensional, kind of simply opposite of the Bridgerton family type?
Yeah, I think it's a few different reasons. I think that how we've approached the characters is not to make them, and certainly in the writing as well, not to make them pantomime baddies. We've tried to kind of find the truth in the situation. There might be a lack of awareness, certainly for my character, and a lack of tact and a very direct, sometimes aggressive approach. But I think because it's coming from a good place, I think the audience can empathize with her struggle. Therefore, you don't hate her, you actually hopefully start to root for her.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you need, in any sort of thing, you need opposites, don't you? So we couldn't be the same as the Bridgertons, and I always like being cast as something which is different, and as someone who is maybe not as quickly, you can't understand them as quickly. That's what I quite like finding, and like you said, finding the more human sides, which hopefully audiences relate with and therefore warm to, which I think hopefully will happen in this series.
Yeah, especially with the season, so many layers, so many different plots that get set up. It's such a exciting season. A Regency drama, not something that hasn't been done before, but why do you think the Bridgerton series has reached the level of success that it has?
Well, there's so many reasons. I'll name a few, and then Bessie can take over. I think it arrived at the perfect time. It was the perfect time in the world, with the pandemic. Everybody needed that escapism, that color, that the sort of purity of falling in love allowed us to forget all our anxieties about what was going on. That's just a few.
And probably period dramas up until now have been quite strict in their formulas. And I think we've sort of bashed, or not we, Shonda Rhimes and Chris Van Dusen, Netflix, Shondaland, have burst the door down and said, hey, what if they were like this? And I think people were so pleasantly surprised by that sort of bravery, I suppose, in going, hey, you know what, we're going to turn this on its head. I think they're like, yes, please, let's do that. And it gives everyone a chance to see themselves reflected in a period where, of course, they would have been there, and we just haven't shown them. And that's, the fault of many years of colonialism and racism. And so finally we're going, let's stop that and let's do this and filter down from the top. And you see the amount of people watching it and you go, well, if that amount of people are watching it, maybe it will do some good in progressing further down that more diverse road.
Yeah, absolutely. As someone who views it, that's definitely the impression that you get. Let's talk a little bit about the style of speech, the clothes, all the dancing, the set. There's so many details to think about when starring in a historical piece. What was the greatest challenge and maybe the most fun element in kind of juggling all those different things?
I think for me, it was both. The greatest challenge and one of the biggest joys was the costumes.
I was going to say the corset.
The corset was a nightmare for me. And I struggled enormously learning to accept it. By the end of it, I just surrendered and my body just gave up and just said, no, this is happening. There's no escape.
Your body does start to get used to the shape of it. It's weird.
At the beginning, your body resists every kind of pull in, but by the end, my body was much better behaved. And so that was a struggle, but I also loved it. And it added so much to the process of.
But we didn't,
character.
so I, A, never dance. B, we were obviously women in those times, so we don't have to learn to do, you know, I'm so envious of the boys because they get to learn horse riding and
Yeah.
fencing, and Benedict is Luke got to go to drawing classes, and I'm like, oh, and so this season I actually said, there's a scene when I'm embroidering. So I said, can I have a lesson? Just because I wanted to have something like some research
Did you
class.
have an embroidery
Yes,
lesson?
I had an embroidery lesson with one of the dressmakers,
Ooh.
and it lasted about 4 minutes because
Right.
we just went, well, it will be set up and you just do that. And I was like, fine. I won't have another skill to my bow, but yeah, so
It's a shame that we couldn't dance though, or that you never get the opportunity to dance. I
maybe
think.
one day she'll dance.
Yeah.
Also, I just think that is an opportunity for some comedy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of seasons to go, so and no need to close off the opportunity. Well, thank you so much, Polly and Bessie. It's been so nice talking to you.
Thanks very
You're
much.
welcome.